Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. Someone as sturdy and as well defensive. I think this is a really clash of styles as well in favor of ShoWTimE, my red protist bottom left, because he plays this defensive macro style, whereas his opponent is going to play a very ferocious and aggressive style. So I think that's a big part of it as well coming up.
Absolutely. And in the top right-hand side, it is Ruben Villanueva, AqueroN. Aquarium. Georgia Aquarium.
It all keeps coming back to this.
Oh, baby, yeah. It all ties together.
It all ties together. Yeah. I remember when I first started casting AqueroN, and I was like, you know, way back when I was like, AqueroN. Or so, like, I don't know how I said it, but I definitely said it very, very weirdly way back when. This is like, you know, I've been casting this, I know he's kind of a younger player, but, you know, he was playing when he was very young as well, like when he was 12 or something. He's like 20 now, it's like 8 years ago, and I was like, AqueroN! And everyone was like, that's not how you say it, it's actually done like this. I'm like, I was very, like, stubborn back then. I was like, yeah, of course it is, guys, whatever. My 20 viewers on Twitch chat, I don't believe you guys. It turns out I was wrong, so.
Yeah. But, oh, okay, an eBay blog from AqueroN. I quite like that he picked, or that he led through Rat Huset Station as well. It's the second time we see this map today, but it's probably the least played map in the map pool. So maybe he can get something under his sleeve here. I mean, this is not the type of opening that is, and he also hit the SEV, by the way, if you look at the path that it followed, like to not be seen by the pro. So, you know, like he's being a little bit tricky, and that's what you gotta be, and I like it.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's different, right? As the Nexus goes down there, gets placed. Probe pulls back up to the high ground, and we just see ourselves Nexus side. Cool, Probe, all producing through. Factory's on the way up, and Reactor and a Refinery coming through as well. So just getting all of this on the go. Yeah, no, it's one of those scenarios where it's an interesting map to let through, and maybe he has something planned. What I do kind of wonder is, like, it's kind of like the opposite map to what he would usually like to play. Because to me, AqueroN, he is this aggressive player. And this map is take 3 bases very easily as long as you're okay against drop play to some extent, right? And then even then, there's fairly one-sided drop play that can happen. It's also a huge map to move across, so either he has something very interesting planned, or he's going to play a bit of a different style of what he usually plays. And maybe it's just big enough that he can just, like, split up, like, masses of different swarms of bio units and then run around ShoWTimE for a whole bunch of time. Maybe that's part of the plan. I don't know what is the plan here, but it's going to be, I'm excited to see it for that reason, that it just kind of doesn't quite add up to me straight away.
ShoWTimE gonna spot him. Yeah, it's gonna add up to ShoWTimE pretty shortly here. So he's gonna scout the proxy factory. Did he see the factory in the main, or is that not unseen from ShoWTimE? He did see the extra factory in the main too, so he knows everything that's coming now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's gonna be difficult, especially without drop play, like you were saying, right? Like there's so many avenues into the main and natural from drops. We saw Skillos utilize that with a War Prism earlier. But yeah, I mean, if you're coming from just the one angle at the ramp and the natural, you know, there's a corner that's annoying, there's a ramp, and it's gonna be very difficult to breach.
Yep. No, this does not seem like a great old time. And I can appreciate trying to, like, maybe pretend you're doing the macro stuff, but then in reality, you're actually just going to kind of come in and cheese him. But yeah, getting the scene is rough, and now you get batteries up. This is one of the scenarios you just get a good amount of Stalkers. Enough Stalkers against Cyclones, and Stalkers really do just look good against those units, man.
Yep, absolutely. The 2 Cyclones are going to reveal themselves at the natural as well to the Probe Scout of ShoWTimE, so he doesn't see the expansion or whether it's been taken, but that doesn't matter too much. ShoWTimE should not overextend here. He should not leave his ramp. That's the only way that he ends up dying. The barracks is going to be here to try to provide some vision for the Cyclones, but they don't have the lock-on range that they once did. So it's difficult to imagine that he's going to punch on through, but he's going to try. I like the SEVs here as well to try to soak up some stalker shots.
Yeah, double battery though. Obviously, super battery available. Just let the batteries do a bit of healing at first. You back away. The Stalkers have so much mobility over the Cyclones is one of the big issues, right? So they really can, like I say, just do this. You dive forward, you back get away. And that one Cyclone very low. Once Blink is done, because we've not lost any Stalkers at all, once Blink is done, I actually think this is going to be very scary for AqueroN, because this kind of feels like you need to get momentum going ASAP. And this is absolutely anything but that. Cyclones are just running, so not even dealing damage, cats. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, I mean, this is brutal. The fact that ShoWTimE is even confident enough to go down the ramp right now before Blink is done, when he knows he has the economic advantage, really says a lot about the state of this game and how confident he should be feeling right now.
Yep, I think the state of the game is that this is absolutely heading more and more so into ShoWTimE's favor. He continues over. A couple Cyclones will begin to drop. Some lock-ons are going to push those Stalkers back. More Cyclones join together. A few extra Cyclones, just keep them on popping, of course, but this is, with Blink now especially, just almost impossible to ever imagine a Stalker will die. If they die, it's probably because they've blinked on top of you to guarantee some amazing kills, and ShoWTimE going to kill a reactor to stop production as well. Maybe this is your moment as AqueroN, because these Stalkers can't get home as easily. Going to kill one Cyclone and just blink away, though.
Yeah, the angle could have been a little bit better to cover the retreat. We'll get 2 Stalkers on the way back, and again, this is ShoWTimE a little bit overextending. He really doesn't need to do this, but he's confident enough that he can do this, which is kind of like the sad part for AqueroN, because once you're going up that ramp, it becomes a lot harder. There's shield batteries, there's overcharge, and there's obviously the ramp, and the fact that Stalkers have the greater range. I like the SCV pull from AqueroN here. The game should end one way or another very shortly here, and here we go. I mean, let's see if shield battery overcharge is not gonna work out, but it's difficult to imagine. A couple of Stalkers do end up falling here as ShoWTimE tucks himself back. I wouldn't mind a pro pull even at this point, but AqueroN knows it's done. And it's done.
It is done. ShoWTimE gets to a 1-0 scoreline as he opens up strong. Again, he really figured out what it was. I think first of all is obviously the big thing, and then he played it well. I mean, maybe he overextended going for the reactor, but outside of that, he had enough batteries ready at all points. Maybe he could have pulled probes, but he was doing the right thing. He was targeting down Cyclone after Cyclone. Eventually, that Cyclone damage is just not going to matter. You can keep warping in, and the SCVs don't really do anything on their own, right? So convincing start from ShoWTimE, gets a 1-0 lead. I think I don't hate it from AqueroN though. Like you said, he's gonna have to, do better than his best almost. And sometimes against ShoWTimE, maybe being cheeky is the right way. Like sometimes ShoWTimE does slip up in those early games, right? Sometimes he is a bit more vulnerable than say the Serral or the Max Packs, right? Where we sometimes say, can you cheese these guys? Not really. Maybe ShoWTimE is a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the map choice is just kind of strange for me, right? Like for this type of opening in particular, I would have thought maybe like some Liberator or some Medevac shenanigans could have worked out, or maybe if you go for something like this, you do something wild and break down the double rocks and try to go at a different angle where it's not going to be as protected. But yeah, once it's telegraphed, once it's scouted, and you know exactly what's coming, and there's only one angle at which you can come, it seems near impossible to beat a player like ShoWTimE with that.
Well, only thing for it is to jump into game number 2, and it's going to be AqueroN for the second map, so we'll see whether or not...
AqueroN?
AqueroN, yeah.
Is that how you say that?
Well, there's been a whole discussion, but apparently it's a Greek name, and so in Greek it's AqueroN. Apparently in English we would say Alcyone, but some people like to say AqueroN, so I'm just going to give in to them and say AqueroN. That's my current situation.
I said Alcyone, so I was nowhere even no English or Greek for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's one of those map names that you can just say whatever you want in a way. Like there's so many ways it could be pronounced. So yeah. It's I don't know. I say it once at the start and I just try not to say it again because even I like change up how I say it halfway through a map.
Say
game.
what?
Like say the map name.
What don't you say again?
Yeah, the map name.
Which one?
The one I've already said, Cats. So we're gonna do something different and introduce the players. It's from the Platinum Heroes in the top right of this map is the Blue Terran player AqueroN.
AqueroN. And in the bottom left-hand side, it is ShoWTimE. For big.
Yes,
he is big.
He is.
Look at this. No respect. Just scouting so fast.
Insta scout. Just gonna make sure I'm not gonna die. Says ShoWTimE. You're right. No respect.
The I'm a better player scout. No respect.
Yeah, it kind of is. I hate moves like this, man. How am I ever gonna cheese people out of tournaments? You know?
Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Such try.
It's like you play against Bly, you drop a blind bunker. You know, against AqueroN, you just scout everywhere.
Yeah. Reaper is going to kill him up here, so we are just going to have that Reaper on the way to start us out. And nothing surprising this time from AqueroN for the first few moments. So yeah, nothing too wild for a couple of moments here. Wait to see when and how and where things might change up, but yeah, momentarily. Just an expansion even, so very normal, and obviously ShoWTimE gets to see all this as well, which you might just be happy about. I think the more normal a game is, the less chance it is that he's gonna, get kind of messed up by AqueroN, so I think he's okay with this.
Yeah, I'm sure he's happy with it. However, yeah, AqueroN, hopefully he does some sort of two-base aggression or something to still try to surprise ShoWTimE. I don't think he'll want to take this to the macro game. But ShoWTimE knows what he needed to know for the time being, so we'll see how he reacts. And Adept as well to double down on the scouting. And now a Twilight Council, so classic, most likely going into Blink.
Yep. Just gonna get that Twilight Council up and to Blink, and I think one of the reasons you probably play Blink here in Twilight as ShoWTimE as well is just the fact that I think ShoWTimE would love to play Stargate, but it's almost just a little bit vulnerable against some of the things that AqueroN does. If he does, you know, one of those very early SCV pulls with a few units, for example, that's where Stargate may be a bit more vulnerable, whereas usually Stargate's the safer way to play. So I think the Twilight just gives him the overall, in this matchup against specifically AqueroN, the safest setup and the best setup to just guarantee himself through to the mid-game. Which again, if he gets to the mid-game, if he gets to the later game, he is probably going to be feeling very, very confident for himself.
Yeah, I like that analysis because I don't think either of us expect for AqueroN to, you know, power up and take a very fast third or something like that and just try to macro. So yeah, ShoWTimE with that in mind and the potential for aggression is going to make the right choice. The Reaper scout is nice from AqueroN, so he's going to see exactly everything that's going on, but the Reaper will likely pay with his life. The grenade's not good enough. And 2 Stalkers are revealed, so hinting at that Blink if it wasn't already obvious.
Yeah, even Sentry here is ShoWTimE, which is not something you really need to do with Blink, but it's just like, I want a hallucination, I want constant scouting, I want to make sure I know what you're doing. So, it really is kind of a lack of respect. He's like, a Sentry does not fit into a Blink build at all, but it's just going to be like, I am going to be so okay if I don't die, I can absolutely afford it this time.
Yep, this Adept has been out there as well, just checking and double checking, and now we'll take the tower in the middle as well. So a lot of investments here for ShoWTimE are just kind of safeguards, starting with that scout, following with the Adept, now going into the Blink and the Sentry. I mean, these are all anti-AqueroN tactics.
Yep. Absolutely is. Everything is just about being very safe here from ShoWTimE, getting into that nice layer of safety, and then going from there. His Blink is about to finish up. So we'll see if ShoWTimE wants to do much, but obviously he's been playing a pretty fast Nexus, so he doesn't have too many Stalkers. There is a Wood of Mine drop coming around the main, and AqueroN is just going to have a Raven popping, an extra barracks coming through. Everything's still just surprisingly normal from him. It's probably, if I had to guess from this point, I'm probably still thinking it's just like big 2 base attack, probably pull the SCVs where they're like, that's just what you lean to with AqueroN. So
slow reaction.
See if he responds in a different way, as these Wood of Mines will get a Sentry.
Sentry. Okay. That's something.
Yeah. Sentry's a bit more value than expected. It's not really meant to be here, but all good.
Yeah, and the full probe pull as well. So, like, if I had to guess, that would have killed 2 probes. So a Sentry and a probe and a full pull sounds pretty good to me. Yeah. On the side of AqueroN, with nothing else going on the map also. So the real push is coming soon with the Raven. It's been gathering energy. It's a relatively fast Raven, and now adding a bunch of units from a 3 barrack setup on 2 base, so more or less what we were expecting, but he will drop a 3rd command center behind this. So right now it's going to be a 2 base push to try to kill the 3rd of ShoWTimE, and he should be happy if he's able to accomplish that. So I would very much like for that to be the target. Yeah,
this Raven just going to be a safety net against ETs, but also just a harasser, because obviously no interference matrix upgrades, so not looking to utilize that. Probably wouldn't be needed here against Blink Stalkers into charge. So anti-armor missile auto turrets will generally do the job, so good call there from AqueroN. We'll get to harass with that as the Stalker's poked on the other side. And he's going to fly into the natural. Sees 2 Stalkers though, so isn't going to risk taking any shots, just going to pull back and just say he's okay with this for the moment.
Yeah, and ShoWTimE's not going to bother tracking the Raven as well. He's just going to continue to hold AqueroN in place for as long as possible. AqueroN's going to take the route out through the medevac path and, you know, just go south and try to make something happen with a double drop. Observer arrives a little bit late, but the medevacs still reveal themselves, or they don't. They barely don't in front of the Stalker. So now maybe AqueroN has a chance. Could he pull SCVs or something of the sorts? No, and the recall is prompt as well. So no flank for AqueroN to punish.
Yeah, nice idea. Could have worked out, but now he's just going to go for a little bit of a larger push across the map. 4th and 5th racks coming through. He does have that 3rd CC to morph into an orbital, so we'll be able to get that on the go. Get that 3rd base moving into the macro position. As the bio really does continue to commit down to the other side, so across the map we head for a couple of moments. As, yeah, you're just going to sit up on the high ground. The bio going to go back around as well. And a couple of batteries still coming through from ShoWTimE, just knowing that he wants to make sure he sees the next stage of this game still.
Yeah, and ShoWTimE already smells that this is the path that AqueroN is trying to take. They would have been a little bit exposed. We'll have to pull back AqueroN as He also smells that ShoWTimE might be repositioning. And yeah, I mean, he has to try something, I feel like, but maybe not. You know, he did drop the third CC. He is taking a third. So maybe AqueroN can take it to the late game here. Do you believe?
I mean, I think he can try to, but I don't know how well it's going to go for him. ShoWTimE has been, I mean, to be fair though, ShoWTimE has been very gateway unit heavy. And here are the SCVs, so no, I don't think he can take it to the late game, Caps.
Yeah.
On second noticing.
All right. I mean, I like it. It's going to be Widow Mines and SCVs. Not usually the right combo, but this time around it might work around it. That is a beautiful... both of them actually. No armor for the army of ShoWTimE, but he does have a shield battery overcharge. So is this going to be enough for AqueroN? He needs to continue to commit. You already lost so many SCVs. The Widow Mines will connect. The anti-armor missile is going to wear out pretty soon here. So he best commit, but with 2 Immortals there and this many Marauders, it's just not going to work out. The next set of Widow Mines is good, but with the Zealot Warpin, it looks like ShoWTimE has it under control. And Aquarium will have